For a science gallery, I think co-creation means when the kind of producer-consumer boundary is broken down, when the institution, the individual kind of blur a little bit. When a co-creative spirit is really healthy, you have your audience approaching you and treating your institution as a facilitator of their vision. And that's what I think success really is for co-creation. It's where people feel that their creative initiative is being rewarded and you're facilitating them to have creative outputs that they couldn't without your institution. Science Gallery is fundamentally interdisciplinary. We have scientists exhibiting, but actually more artists. And in between we have designers, crafters, makers, all sorts of people. And that presents a lot of challenges because the language you use around exhibiting, around proposing works, around commissions, around engaging with the public for those different community groups is utterly different. When you get designers working with fine artists or makers, it pushes them outside of their comfort zone, which is wonderful, but also you don't want people to feel uncomfortable. So as an institution, I think it's our responsibility to facilitate those interactions to make that a fruitful collaboration. Science Gallery Dublin tries to act as a mediator between art and science. Just like an institution and its audience can work together in co-creation, so can these two different or perceived different cultures of art and science, or design and crafters, makers, engineers, performers. Any of these disciplines can be crossed if you take this sort of co-creative, collaborative approach. In our chemistry exhibition, we had a bring your own periodic table of elements, and anyone could bring in any object which had to do an element that they wanted to exhibit. What we didn't expect was that calcium would be a really popular element, and I think on day 3 we had to start emptying the ostrich eggs out of that because everyone would bring in an ostrich egg, tag it where they'd gotten it, who brought it in, and the thing was totally full. The community for a museum, a gallery, an institution, that's really up to the community to self-define. And they may see themselves as fans, as supporters. They may see themselves as militant critics who really want the institution to be better, and they're like a gadfly encouraging it to be the way they really hope it could be. But in reality, it's not really up to you as a practitioner or an institution. And that's a wonderful thing, because then you can have multiple communities, you can have communities that overlap, and communities that take action and decide things for themselves and their own relationship to the institution. One thing about success for Science Gallery is that we want our audience to have a really personal experience which roots Science Gallery in their sort of social experience, their civic experience. And to me, it means a lot when you see like 2 17-year-olds come through the door on their first date. And that's kind of better in a way than a bunch of 16-year-olds being brought in by a teacher, kind of dragging their feet, don't want to be there, because those 17-year-olds are making this choice of their own volition. It's going to fit into their sort of social calendar, their experience, what they want to do, and they're making that decision by themselves. So I think we have a real chance of keeping them engaged with art, with science, with culture, if we get them to think about how Science Gallery fits in with their life. Probably my favorite things at Science Gallery are initiatives that blur the boundary between like an exhibition, an event, a performance, and so people don't exactly know what they are, but they like them. That's what I would really like to do more of. More sort of experimental, I guess you call them exhibitions, but things which are kind of undefinable in format. So people come in and they say, I don't exactly know what this is, but I love it.